calling the meeting to order at 6:34 on my watch. So the reading of the minutes, do I have a motion to dispense with that?
So moved?
I had an amendment.
No?
I did arrive late, like 10 minutes late. I'm not
Okay.
listed as the attendee. I sent a note in.
I got to tell you, I didn't get to a lot of things in the last 2 weeks.
Well, I'm publicly stating I came back 10 minutes late.
Okay, all right.
So amend
all right,
the
so
minutes.
then can we amend the minutes? Yeah. That Mike was here? Was at the meeting?
In fact, I was quoted several times in the text.
So you weren't here for roll call?
That's right.
We did.
Yeah,
Correct.
Yeah, okay, so,
Then I moved to approve.
Okay.
okay,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
All right.
Okay. I have an announcement. The way we're set up, I get to choose the vice chairman. We don't vote on it. It's my choice. And I'm announcing that Dennis is our new vice chair because Dennis has been doing yeoman's work in terms of research for our contract renewal activities, and so Dennis is now our official vice chair.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on here is Spectrum report. John?
Good evening, everybody. It's nice to see everyone in person. We haven't been together in a while, other than Zoom calls the past few meetings, so
So as long as we're all vaccinated, we can be here.
we're vaccinated.
Is everyone vaccinated? Is everyone vaccinated? Okay.
I pulled,
Okay, that's right.
I asked, polled
Correct.
all our people.
Okay.
Yes. I didn't ask you, John. I'm assuming you are.
I am. My whole family is, so
Okay.
yes,
Good.
everyone's
Okay.
safe and healthy, so.
Is everybody else in the room vaccinated? Okay. Feel safe.
I asked George before, and I've asked you
Okay.
before, so, okay.
Yep. So I'll be brief. Regarding subscriber complaints, I think it's been working out pretty well to please have customers call customer service or let me know about particular circumstances so I can have somebody investigate. Like last meeting, Michael brought up some billing issue, and we were able to work things out through email fairly quickly, and I thought it worked well. Get an explanation of what went on and whatnot.
I tend to disagree that it worked out well,
Yeah.
but go ahead.
Yeah, and the CTSB request, I was not able to get the channels renamed, but I tried on that issue. And for communication, I continue to urge every member of the board to communicate anytime an issue comes up, rather than waiting for quarterly meetings so we get issues resolved as quickly as possible. Anytime a question comes up. And there was an announcement, it was about a month ago, a little less than a month ago, but Charter is participating in the FCC's Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, where millions of households eligible for monthly credit for up to $50 for Spectrum Internet. And actually saw an article today that over 2 million customers have signed up, not of our customers, but across all companies participating, and there are many, but over 2 million customers have signed up. And for as long as that money lasts, the federal money lasts for the $50 credit, that'll go into effect. And our customers, interested customers who are not Spectrum customers can visit spectrum.com/getqualified or call 855-662-9946, or our current Spectrum customers can visit spectrum.net/broadband benefits to learn more about the program. So there's more to the press release than that, but those are sort of the highlights from the
Okay,
press release.
could you repeat those all for us?
Sure. So Interested consumers who are not currently Spectrum customers should visit spectrum.com/getqualified or call 1-855-662-9946. Current Spectrum customers can visit spectrum.net/broadband benefit to learn more about the program. So those are the highlights for the program.
Okay, and could you just go over the list of those who qualify? Again, you have that here
Yeah.
in your announcement.
Yep, the way they qualify, so households can qualify based on several criteria comprising income level and eligibility for the National School Lunch Program or the community eligibility provision of the National School Lunch Program. That's one. Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, the acronym for that is SNAP, Supplemental Social Security Income or SSI. And consumers can verify their eligibility for the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program through the Universal Service Administration Lifeline Eligibility Verify portal, and there's a website address for that. And you can get further information on the Emergency Broadband Benefit Program, including eligibility requirements, at fcc.gov/broadband benefit. So those are the websites and whatnot to get more information
Okay.
on that program.
John, I had a complaint from a subscriber who I asked that they give it to us in writing so I could send it to you and in detail. But she hasn't done it yet. But I'll give you a heads up because it's important. It's an issue that you should know about. She is a legacy Time Warner person, and she wants to migrate out of the legacy Time Warner to Spectrum so that she could get the benefit of certain things that she can't with her legacy program. And she says, you know, she knows it's going to cost her more, but she doesn't care. She couldn't find somebody who could do it. She made several calls. She asked for a supervisor, and they said, no, we can't do that. So it's...
Just send it to me and I'll also look into it. No problem.
Because if there are legacy people who wish to convert, they're getting very turned off.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. I like your hat. Thank you
Well,
for the hats.
we're going to learn more about the hats.
I got a hat too.
All right.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for John? I have a question about, you said that you can't do the change of the identity of, like of CTUSB's channels. Why? You know why? Did they give you a reason?
And they didn't give me an exact reason, no.
Can we find
I
out?
inquired about it. Yeah, I can ask about it.
Yeah,
Sure.
because you've changed it so many times moving, so I
Right.
say, what's another change?
Right. Yep.
Okay.
I'll inquire.
If I may elaborate, the response from Spectrum I found to be unsatisfactory. Most part of it goes through and says, U.S. mail is your problem, not ours. Even though for the last year we have heard complaints from everybody about this. And I put details in. The letter, did you happen to write the letter?
I didn't know.
Okay. It did not specifically address any of the issues I raised about the time. That I sent it in on February 8th. It was mailed to me on January 29th. I received it for whatever the dates were. And then at the end, there's a bit of arrogance where it says, if you don't like us, go find another provider. That's what the letter says. So I found it to be unsatisfactory and arrogant on the part of Spectrum.
Denise?
Perhaps you'd care to look at that aspect of it.
Okay.
Does John have a copy of the response? Maybe you could scan it
Yes,
and
he
send
does.
it to him?
He does. I thought I put it on my Kindle, I didn't. But I remember it very carefully. Hey, Jim.
I have been keeping records of the dates that I received my bills. I write them right on the front of the envelope, and I have.
So do I. I write them on the bill.
I have, in the last year, not have had more than 2 that arrived with at least 2 days before the due date. I'd have several that came on the due date, and several after the due date. And that's not the post office.
My last one is due June 6th, it arrived June 5th.
But you have like, I forget what the number is, but 45 days to pay it or whatever. Like Massachusetts has the longest time frame where you can pay your bill without penalty. So, even though the date is close to the due date, there's plenty of time to,
Yet mine got terminated within that time period. And my bill does not say I was delinquent. It says, please pay or something like that. The letter says, we told you you were delinquent. It did not say that. And I wish they would, not only me, for everyone, address the time issue. My letters to the post office, I send via post office, don't take 8 days. To anybody, the letters that come to me from my bank, out of state, don't take 8 days. They take about 2. But Spectrum, every time, it takes 8, 9 days. And then you look at where to send the bill, it's always got a different address.
well, the best thing to do is pay bills electronically, but I know a lot of people don't do that.
But paying it and when they're received are 2 different issues. When they're received, right, either smack on the due date, or 2 days before or 2 days after, they're not being posted on the day that they're being printed. Or they're being printed they're post-dating the printing. In other words, the day that those bills are actually posted to your records are not the day that they're being mailed. And you're sending them out pre-sorted first-class mail. And pre-sorted first-class mail is the same as first-class mail, and it gets there rather quickly. Still, even with the Postmaster General that we have now, who's taken away all the funding.
Yeah, there's been issues, without question, there's been issues all over the country about it.
Do all the bills all over the country come out of the one place?
I don't know.
Well, if they all come out of
I'm
the one
saying
place,
there's
then we know where
US Postal
where the
Service
problem
issues
is.
all over the country is what I meant. It's a national issue, the Postal Service, so.
I mail stuff to New York City on a regular basis.
I have no problem.
We have grandkids there.
Yeah, but you
I
guys
get- they
are
call
hung up
me-
on the fact
they
that the
call me in
date
2
is
days.
close to the due
Just
date,
got it.
but I'm telling you, you have a significant period of time to pay the bill.
But then why are you putting that
Put
date
a
on?
different due date on, put the true one on then, if that's what you're telling us.
It's
If nothing else. if
It's
they
an
made us-
annoyance. It's a major annoyance to people.
Yeah, if nothing else, it would stop us from complaining
Yeah.
about that at every single meeting.
I've noticed.
It's not a great way to win friends for Spectrum and influence them to be nice. You get their hackles up, so they they say, I get these bills that are all, I'm not going to use the word that I was going to do, something up. And it's bad for your reputation.
Yeah, I mean, I've been with the company a couple of years now. This is the only place that I hear complaints about this. I haven't really heard about it elsewhere, so.
Must be the mail carriers in this area.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so.
There's plenty of time to pay the bills. I understand the annoyance.
I would pursue it. Get your accounting people to look at it. Not your customer service people, but accounting people. They know what's going on. Or they can audit and see what's going on.
Often on the bills, there's a different address for the payment. Indiana, Florida, all over the place. Does Spectrum farm out the collection to different people around the country?
Not that I'm aware of, I don't know.
Does it farm out the provision of the bills to us, to various other little, where is
Not
Spectrum's
that I'm
home
aware
office?
of.
Where is Spectrum's home office?
Charlotte.
No, we have two corporate offices, one's in Stamford, Connecticut, and one's in St. Louis, Missouri.
Where do the bills come from?
I don't know.
North Carolina.
Yeah, I would see Charlotte, North
Yeah,
Carolina.
that's common with any big company, it doesn't
Yeah.
Doesn't
It's a
always come
mailing
from the
house.
corporate office.
It's a mailing house.
Which may account for the delay.
Hello, you see what I'm saying? It's probably a mailing house, and mailing houses, you know, you have to audit them.
Yeah, I'm not saying so, I don't know if
No,
it's a mailing.
I'm saying so, because they, you know, if they can get away with something, they do.
Hmm.
I've dealt with mailing houses in my, when I was in the sales promotion and where stuff needed to be handled on a timely basis.
Mm-hmm.
I've even visited facilities, mailing facilities, and reviewed what was going on. Once I visited the facility once and audited, we never had a problem with that facility again. Okay, I don't want to beat a dead horse because I don't think this horse is quite dead yet.
I don't think it's gonna come back up to life either.
Well, anyway,
Anyway, do your best, John.
yeah.
Okay.
That's, anybody else have anything for John? Stick around though, John, because
right.
we're going to be bringing up some
Sure.
stuff that will involve you later on.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. CTSB report is next.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to in-person meetings, and I'm glad everyone is safe and happy and healthy. I've included our annual report along with free hats and decals that the general public can receive with
For a picture.
a paid membership. So please take your time to browse through the annual report, and I hope that you learn more about all the hard work that we accomplished during a pandemic, probably one of the hardest times of our life. We accomplished quite a bit of work at Community TV. There's lots of highlights in the annual report, and before I move on to my report, I just wanted to mention a couple highlights that were included in the annual report, which was CTSB has remained open during the entire pandemic and will remain open under state guidelines with mask wearing and social distancing when required. You'll see in the annual report that our studio located at 40 Limestone Road, which has a current value of $630,000, our mortgage has been paid down to $104,000 as of right
That's
now,
great.
and we're hoping that next year our building is paid off in full.
Fabulous.
Current membership remains steady at 135 members. And if you're a current member or you're interested in becoming a member, please stop by our studio to sign up. Individual memberships are $15, and you can get a free hat and decals to promote community television around town. And another interesting part of our annual report was the amount of meetings that we covered over the past year. Our programming coordinator, Stephen Bournes, reports that our 2020 government meetings saw an increase of 100%. In 2019, the total number of government meetings was 160, and in 2020, the total was 416. Our public channel increased 48% from 282 meetings in 2019 to 416 in 2020. News from the Massachusetts State House rose 300% from 98 meetings in 2019 to 301 meetings in 2020. And as most of you know, those meetings were the Governor Baker meetings with all the advisories as to social distancing and numbers increasing or decreasing. So I hope you take time to go through our annual report and see all of the goals and accomplishments that we were able to do over the past year. And my report for this evening is a little bit different. I believe at the last CAC meeting, I was asked to provide a list of our goals and accomplishments. So tonight, I'm basically just gonna go down and list some goals that we're working on, accomplishments that we've completed, and things that we're looking forward to. As executive director, I've worked closely with the CTSB board, staff, and members to create and implement goals to move CTSB forward with the latest technology and trends in community television. The following is a list of accomplishments and future goals we as a team have worked on diligently to complete since my hiring in the fall of 2019. A new CTSB website was built from scratch that streams all 3 channels live in HD, along with a searchable archive and YouTube channel with mostly locally recorded programming that can be viewed from anywhere in the world. A new logo was designed along with decals and hats to help promote CTSB and our mission of community-produced media. A new CTSB member store has now replaced our old boardroom. We will soon have a glass display case that allows members to see the latest equipment and receive one-on-one training prior to signing out the equipment. CTSB is partnering with WBCR Berkshire Community Radio based on Main Street in Great Barrington. We plan to launch a live local news program weekly, which will be streamed back to CTSB via 2 web cameras. Additional goals are discussed weekly as we reimagine everything we do at CTSB and how we can do it better. New equipment installed is as follows. A new Tightrope broadcast servers and software was installed. New office servers and software with the ability to work remotely and access CTSB computers, which will allow us to work outside of regular hours. A new archive system with hundreds of terabytes of storage that is backed up in case a drive fails. The CTSB studio has brand new wireless microphones and is currently being repainted in broadcast green. The studio will soon be one of the largest green screen studios in the area and will allow productions to have any background imaginable. We've purchased new field cameras and iPhone accessories that will make recordings easier and will offer members access to cameras that are waterproof and wearable for outdoor adventures. Finally, now that we can gather together safely, I will be creating a new show named What is Community Television? The new show will be a great opportunity to discuss many topics, including how to become a member, how to operate cameras, and provide ideas to help new members create programs. And as we move forward through the year, each week we're coming up with more and more ideas on how we can make CTSB more user-friendly and how we can attract new members.
Well, you've done a lot, and we thank you.
Yeah, and we continue our biggest challenge is letting the community know where we are and what we do and how they can become a member. And we've discussed with the board ideas from billboards to flyers to banners on local media websites, and we're working really hard to bridge that connection between us and the community.
I would personally like to thank you for all of us for facilitating our meetings during the shutdown. Because without your help, we wouldn't have been able to do that. Thank you.
You're very welcome. I feel that we did help keep a lot of people at home and stay informed and stay safe. Mm-hmm. And it's as we see our Zoom meetings slowly dissipate, in-person meetings come back. It's great. It's really great. We prefer in-person meetings. But it was a great service over the past year.
I mean, we all have to wear pants now.
Right, yeah. Very true.
To keep it on the light side.
Yes, yeah.
What they used to call the petition in front of a desk? They used to have some TV shows, especially when there's a woman broadcasting or something.
With the skirt something or?
Yeah, it was a piece of wood covering the front below. For a layperson.
No, actually,
I'm sorry.
I went to the CTSB studio for my part of those meetings, so I actually was dressed. But I won't swear for anybody else.
From a layperson, what does Tightrope Broadcast Services
Well,
software?
that's my first question.
So the Tightrope system, there's a Tightrope is based in the Boston area, and this is the machinery and the software that runs each channel.
Is that a brand name or is that?
Yes,
technology?
it's a brand name.
Oh,
Tightrope is the brand name of the equipment, and then we use a contractor to do the installation. And our current system is about 3 generations old, and that's about 8 to 10 years. And these servers and software run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and each one operates each of the 3 channels. And the new system will give us more functionality with pulling in live streams and recording things, and the ability to pull in the web cameras from WBCR, and it's time for an upgrade, and we've
I have a couple questions
Sure.
in regard to that. And basically, because of all the news that's gone on lately, all the ransomware attacks, et cetera, and I'm just curious, have you guys done an assessment on protecting the system from that kind of attack? And is that security audited on a general basis? And secondly, if somebody sneaks through, is there a recovery plan? You talk about this archive, and if nothing else, I'm just curious how separated that is from your existing equipment.
Yes, so one of the issues with the old system was that it was vulnerable to attacks because it was the last version of, I think it was like Windows 8, something like that. So we could have been, somebody could have gotten into the system and shut us down and attacked us. So part of that upgrade was moving to the latest version of Windows. And according to our IT guy, that'll keep us safe, this new version, yes. So,
But, I mean, have you done an assessment on what happens if somebody, people are getting into the Pentagon and everything, huge companies that have lots of resources. And I'm just curious about, I mean, the archive, for instance, is that online with the other system all the time, or is it like a time thing? So if the other thing gets killed, that's still available?
yeah, the archive is a storage for programming.
But is it live storage all the time, or is it like, is it backed up on an incremental basis, for instance? So like once a day, you put everything on it and then shut it off? So.
It's backed up to multiple hard drives, so it's somewhere between 4 and 10 different drives. So if any one drives, it's backed up again and again and again and again. So I don't believe we stand the risk of losing anything. I believe there's larger targets out there than us. We did experience something where somebody had gotten into our email system and had sent out an email to all of our members, and it said something like, we've left you a voicemail. Please click on this and enter your password to access the voicemail. And we quickly discovered that was an attempt at getting our password, and we quickly changed all of our passwords in our email system, and we didn't really experience any additional problems after that.
Yeah, just, I mean, this day and age, anybody's is a potential target, and just, I think that people need to approach their systems as if they're going to get hit.
Yes.
And then, so they know what to do. I was just listening to the radio on the way up here about some farmer, I think it was, somebody, can't remember what the business was, out in the Midwest, had 35 employees, and he came in one morning and nothing worked, had his ransomware demand, and he said, I just had backups of everything, and what's happened with the Colonial Pipeline issue, they had backups, but they were live. So not only did they get in and destroy their operational system, but they actually tunneled into their backup system and killed that too. So, anyway, it's just something I think we should all. be
Yes,
cognizant of.
our IT person is an outside vendor, and he's very well trusted, and he assures us that, you know, by keeping the latest software installed, that.
Who is that? Who's the IT vendor?
John Sharrow.
Is he an individual practitioner?
He has a business in Pittsfield.
Cheryl?
Sharrow, yes, John Sharrow. I believe it's Charrow.
That's how I spelled it.
Could be one R. Could be one R.
All right.
Okay.
With all the ATMs going on right now in the Berkshires, are you filming each one? And how soon are they available? Like we had one in Great Barrington last night. Annual town meetings.
Yes, some of the annual town meetings are covered live, and the ones that are recorded are, it's usually a quick turnaround of like the next evening. They're up on our broadcast.
Are they available on the website too?
Yeah, yes, if you go to our website and you click on either government or public or education, government in that case, and there's a search bar at the top. And you can search in any annual town meeting or date, and you can find it in our archive, and you can watch it on your computer.
For how many years do they keep each annual town meeting, and also like select board meetings?
Yeah, I would say our current system goes back, say, 5 years, maybe some older items. And then before that, you would probably get into file tapes, which we have on a shelf, which we could pull if someone needed. But, you know, our archive system may go back even further. Maybe it may go back to, like, say, 2014, 2015, somewhere around there.
Is there a search function, say you wanted to find February of 2019?
Yeah, yes.
Can you type that in and get to it?
Yep. So when you click on the government channel, you'll have a list of what's playing today with a little window of you can watch live right now, or you can go up to the search bar and type in Lee Annual Town Meeting 2018, and then you can click on it and watch it from home.
Cool.
Okay, good.
So I have another question in that regard. You mentioned YouTube here, but I was under the impression that all this was on Vimeo, that you were using that as your story.
Yes, I didn't get into a lot of our social media because this is the cable commission, so I didn't know how. It's really important to us because we can measure viewership through social media. But so the Vimeo channel serves two purposes. It's an archive, and it also archives all of our Shakespeare events. And after the Shakespeare, the annual Fall Festival of Shakespeare event is over, people can use the Vimeo site to access those shows and plays, and they can purchase the shows. Whereas YouTube is it's easier to link to YouTube. So if we post something on Facebook, a previous recording, and you were to click on it, it would bring you to YouTube. And the way we set up YouTube, we set up the 3 categories of public, education, and government.
Oh, cool.
And
So you just have both of them? then?
yeah,
You
we
just
have both of them,
remove
and
one.
if things change in the future, we could phase Vimeo out. And also Vimeo has a limit. Whereas YouTube there is no limit for
Yeah.
media on there.
If things change in the future, huh? Everything's gonna
Yes,
change.
yes, they will. Yes, not if, when. Yes.
So, anything else? So I'm going to say to everybody who watches this, if you watch this, you really should be a member of CTSB. And CTSB needs all the members that they can get. It's very important. So it's not just to say you're members. You can learn so much about your own videos for your home and your family. You can learn so much about the way studios operate. It's a learning experience, it's a growing experience, and it's a fun experience. So if you want to, think about it, and then if you're not quite sure, call over to CTSB and talk to somebody about some of the benefits of being a member, like learning, like using the equipment to make your own videos and you don't have to buy it. You can just use it and give it back. I mean, that's important. Just remember that CTSB is a wonderful resource, and members and contributions are always accepted.
Yes, and, you know, and we provide all this transparency in government meetings and school committee meetings, but, you know, the public channel is really there for it's a soapbox for
Yeah.
the public. And, you know, it's your chance to take a camera out and interview somebody in your community. Maybe it's a topic that is of interest. Or you want to go to a local museum, or you want to do a feature piece. There's so many things that, you know, interview a relative or a veteran, or, you know, there's so many things you can do with our public channel and having access to a camera. And again, it's no experience necessary. We can train. The cameras are easier than ever. Most cameras are simple, one button record without even, you don't even have to focus or use the iris these days. They're all automated. But yes, that is something I want to see our public channel grow with more community involvement. And I think when people, you know, when you're given a ticket to be a photographer or a videographer, it allows the public to go many places the average person cannot go. And it's a lot of fun.
Okay. If there's nothing else, we thank you.
Great.
Can you hang out for a little bit?
Yes, I will. Yes, thank you.
John, I forgot to ask you a question. Form 500, have you had the Form 500s for this spring?
Yeah, that's a file with the LFAs, all of them 500s.
You filed them with the towns?
Yeah, the local franchising authority.
Yeah, but that's where, you didn't send them to us.
Okay.
Please do.
Okay,
Thank you.
I'll send it to you.
Thank you. I get all 5 towns, and the other towns' representatives get their own towns. Actually, all 5, because we compare them anyway. So, thank you. Okay. Next, do we have any old business? That was old business, I guess. Anyway.
Let's take a look here.
Jim, do you have any old business?
Too much paper here. I guess not. Any update on the robocall blocks? We talked about that last meeting, that they were trying to implement something to block robocalls. The charter.
I went over at the last meeting that we did do robocall blocking.
You said they were working on it, is what, at least that's what, so,
I am getting things showing up on my caller ID now that say spam risk.
oh, like, yeah. I don't use them as a provider, but I get that too.
Yeah. So I don't answer those. But there are so many calls that they're not necessarily robocalls, they're robo-dial.
Oh, they're robocalls. You start listening and you realize if you don't respond the way that their software is expecting you to,
It repeats itself.
well, and it goes into you can sort of hear the machine going through the possibilities. So whenever I get one of those calls and I suspect it, I'll say, I'll answer like, "This is headquarters," and you hear, and nothing, goes quiet, 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 quiet. Instead of saying hello, which is what they're programmed to.
I get fishing expeditions a lot.
Yeah, me too. But I know, like I said, they're not my provider, so I can't blame Charter for that.
No, no, can't. That's not their fault.
Okay.
That's because the FCC has great regulations that prevent people from enjoying their stuff, but not regulations that get rid of the junk.
Yeah.
Okay, next, we have our license renewal update.
Sure,
Dennis is going to do that.
thank you. For those of you who may or may not know, our license expires in February 28th, 2023. 3 years from now, two years from now, it sounds like a long time, but it's not. The state puts...
8 meetings.
Yeah. The state puts together a process that they refer to as ascertainment that the community goes through for a 2-year period from 36 months out to 12 months out. So that would put the end of our ascertainment process in February. And we've met twice as a committee in April and
No, we're a working group.
working group, excuse me. We've met twice. We've reviewed a few things offline. A 2013 Strand map, I'm sure there's an updated one since then, and a 2017 cable survey that had, I don't know, maybe 70 results or whatever. But I think it's important that we set expectations and talk about what's in scope and what's out of scope. What's in scope, what's out of scope is the price of the cable service and the fees and the programming. We can't do anything about...
That's pretty much everything.
Right.
No, that's not pretty much everything.
We can't do anything about Red Sox TV or, Springfield News. We can't do anything about that. But we can do something about the town and community needs, the resident input, customer complaints, spectrum performance, underserved parts of the community, ideas to improve the service. We can compare our license with other communities in Massachusetts, of which there's 430 something. And then we can look at the capital operational needs of CTSB over the next 10 years. This is kind of a pivotal year. I got the opportunity to tour the facility this morning with Rich.
Good.
And if you ever want to be awed and amazed, go there. They do such great work, and I'm still learning. I had never been through the facility, and frankly, I had never really been on their website. I got to read their annual report and saw it as a great opportunity for people who may have cut the cord. You have direct access to all their programming through the web, through the website, through each of the channels, the 1301, the public, the education, government stations. So it's very well done. And like you said, it's some great local content. It's something that you're not going to see on network TV. So I think the focus of our meeting for the first 2 meetings has been on definitions. Definitions are in the first article of the agreement, and they provide the meaning of the agreement proper. When you define one area that we looked at specifically was gross revenues. What is that? And length is by no means something that could define how well the agreement was written, but Lennox's definition of gross revenue was, 5 or 6 lines, and the latest contracts in the state, I printed out Dington, which is a Comcast agreement. That was, it's 20-something lines. But every line means something in the context of the agreement for the town. So I think that's something that we looked at, and our next meeting.
Continue to look at.
Yeah, our next meeting is, I think, the 17th, the third Thursday, and I think we're going to move on from there.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
Yeah, I'm very interested in this whole process, and partially because we know that technology is changing rapidly, and it just, to sign a 10-year contract on something when it's going to be totally different at the other end, and I think it's something that really has to be well thought through. And I'm thinking, what I expect to see happen is that at some point, Charter is going to change is going to transition to 100% internet-based services. That those boxes now are the boxes that you have in the service to get your TV, your television. I don't know if they could use the same boxes, how programmable they are, but my guess is they're going to get exchanged for something like a Roku box or an Apple box or one of those. And once it becomes 100% broadband technology, does that mean that cable TV really doesn't exist anymore?
I think we're already there, and George and John can describe that. You no longer get a radio signal to a house.
Right. So how does
You're
that change
stream
the whole-
content through a modem, and the modem turns that into what appears to be broadcast TV, which it's not.
Right, yeah. So the question is, how does that affect cable franchises? Because it's not technically cable anymore, it's just a broadband service.
Well,
Right.
we have to look to the state and to the state DTC, Department of Telecommunications and Cable, and to the FCC for some guidance along those lines, I think.
Yeah.
And then I had, in the last meeting, I made some comments about Spectrum's business practices, and there are a couple things which I still think are in some ways very deceptive. When I read the contract that we had initially with them, and it's been a while since I read it, but the basic broadcast, the basic services that are supposed to be supplied is at the very basic level of service includes all the stations that you can receive by theoretically receive over the air, which here is basically nothing. Although it used to be. I used to have an antenna and I could get lots of stations around. Can't do it anymore. And it was going to be a set price. And you said your working group cannot, or we as a advisory committee can't, there's some things we can't we're not allowed to deal with. But it seems to me that what Spectrum has done is taken some of those channels and then charged additional fees on top of it in the form of broadcast fees, which I think should have been included initially in that. And I suspect it's because of the way that they negotiate. They go to the television station and say, look, we can pay you more, or I don't know what kind of conversation or negotiation takes place with them. But I suspect that something happens, like they say, well, we can take this out of the fee that it's supposed to include this if we write the contract this way, and then we can basically double what we charge people, which is what's happening with these extra broadcast fees. And I don't know if when we come around to our agreement with them is that we can specify that anything that's supposed to be in this basic level of service is included, and that they cannot charge broadcast fees for those. And secondly, that if they do charge separate broadcast fees, that the people who are the subscribers should have some transparency as exactly what those are covered. Now, I've addressed this a few times in meetings, and what I'm told is that's proprietary information, and they don't want to tell us what we're being charged for. That's considered proprietary information. So when we get around to doing this thing, that's something I'd like to see
Well, we should have more transparency.
covered. And
Unfortunately, though, that based upon the FCC and the state law, this committee can't negotiate programming or fees.
I'm not saying that we
Yeah.
negotiate the fees, but what we do negotiate is transparency of the fees. If they're charging
Transparency.
fees,
Yeah.
they should tell us what we're paying for. And I also think people should have the option to opt out. One of the things that I discovered recently is that the news broadcast, CNN and CSNBC and Fox and et cetera, that they all get paid per subscriber. MSNBC is one of them. And that the fees that are, what subscribers pay for Fox News is double what it is, what gets paid for MSNBC or or any of the others. And they don't tell subscribers that, and they do that intentionally. They just throw it into a package because there's so many people who don't want to pay for that. That's the kind of thing
Yeah.
that even though we can't say, you're charging me $10 a month for Fox News, but it's bundled in with all these other things, that we should be able to have them delineate what people are paying for.
I think we should be asking that, I can understand the Spectrum not responding to this kind of question the way we would want to hear it, but I think this is something that we ask the FCC to review. And we can do that, and we can do it through our putting together some kind of a document that expresses what we're looking for, and getting it to Richie Neal.
Yeah, and I'm not saying, you can charge $50 a month or what per subscriber. You just need to let people know and give them the option to.
If you want à la carte
Opt out.
fees, then,
Yeah,
On some of these, yeah.
yeah.
And it's technically, there's no reason they couldn't do it from a technical standpoint. I mean, they do it already, the home box office and Hulu and et cetera.
I agree.
So subscriber has that freedom that can go out and subscribe to a service that's à la carte
Yeah.
and pick whatever channels that they want to have included within reason. So
You
I
can't
think
do
what
it,
you're
you can't do it through,
describing-
you can't
do it
through
through
charter.
Spectrum, no.
Through Spectrum, no.
but you can't do it really without some sort of connection.
Right.
And, the local channels, so-called local, Albany I don't call really local, I
Yeah.
call it so-called local. Those channels are, they should also be on an à la carte basis, instead of saying, this is what you get.
Well, I think the local ones, with the so-called local ones, I can see how you would include that in a basic package. I mean, they're required to do that anyway. But where I think the problem lies is that then they end up charging, and the broadcast fees, they won't tell us what they're for, and I'm guessing it's for some of the local channels that ought to be
I'm sure it's
included
for
in there,
local channels.
which according to our current franchise agreement, they're not really supposed to do that. Those are supposed to be included in that basic price. So anyway, that's one of the problems. The other problem I find with Spectrum that I question their business practices, every week I get mail saying, subscribe, it's $45.99 if you take this package, but it isn't. It never, if I've called them and well, that doesn't include the taxes and fees. And so I understand the taxes, but what are the fees? Well, I can't tell you. But you start looking at bills and realize there's sometimes $20, $30 on fees on top of that. So their $45 is really $75. And I consider that deceptive advertising myself. They make an offer, but it's not really what they say it is. So, and I'm glad this is on TV.
Well, these are all things that we need to address. And the working group is scheduled to meet, at least for the time being, for the rest of this year, once a month on the third Thursday? Yeah.
Right.
The third Thursday of each month. And we're going to start getting some parameters put together of what we would like to see in a new contract, a renewal contract, that is different from what's in there now. Okay. When we get to the next calendar year, John, that's when we will start having, I think, meetings that are both parties. So be ready. Okay. There are some of the requirements that'll be coming up. One of them is going to be a survey. It's recommended by the state that we have a survey. Our last survey was less than well done. I think we can look at both sides, our side and your side, in terms of what was done. But we need to put together another survey. So we can draft another survey, and we'll turn it over to you, hopefully by the next meeting. What would you say?
Sure.
Do you think we could do that?
I would stipulate that that be presented to subscribers separate from the bill. As a-
Oh, yeah,
on its own.
this time we will do it separate,
Good.
yeah.
So I think
Because-
there's 14,000 subscribers in our area. Do you know the number? Anyone know the number?
That sounds about right, but I don't.
Yeah,
I
so
think
the last
that's what-
survey, the 2013 survey, we got 70-something responses. So I've seen, some of the towns have done, I don't know, Survey Monkey or, the websites that provide, I think, much greater information. It'd probably be easier for Spectrum, too, to send that out to your customer list. And I think it provide us with a little bit of the knowledge that we need when we negotiate the
Yeah,
contract.
we'll work on
Nice.
some of that.
Yeah.
Okay. And we will also, at some point, be having a joint 5-town community meeting. In other words, it'll be separate from our regular meetings, but we will invite people, and specifically, not just us, it will be specifically to invite the communities to come and have their voices heard, individuals. So that's something that we'll be working on putting together.
John, have you done that for other towns, placed an insert into your billing envelopes for things like surveys, or how do you do that?
No, we don't do surveys ourselves. I thought you were talking about the committee was going to do a survey.
No, I've seen Comcast do them for respective towns. There's, on the
Well,
web, there's one from
They
Amherst.
have a separate third-party entity that does surveys, yes, Comcast does that, and Charter does not do that.
Charter does not do that. Okay.
Well, we'll have to get some, but we don't have to do that just yet, but
Okay.
we'll get it done.
It used to be
We'll find a way.
Yeah,
A company called Arctic, maybe they still do, I don't know.
yeah.
Even if we've got to print them ourselves and each of the individual towns mail them.
Yeah, I don't know, it'd be easier to use an online survey that could,
They used to do a polling survey.
yeah.
I don't know if they still use that format. I'm talking 10 years ago. I don't work there.
A polling survey, unless they're going to go through the customer lists completely, instead of doing a random, you don't have enough base there to really project anything.
That's what they used to do.
That's in big areas, not us small towns kind of thing.
Do we know how many, so the 14,000 subscribers, those are the subscribers to the cable TV service, or to the TV service, correct? Do we have any idea how many broadband subscribers there are on their system?
No. There's no line of
It's
sight
not
to that.
public information.
That's what happens.
That number actually seems high for 5 towns. How many residents in the biggest town?
The state had, the information was
7,000.
dated.
7,000?
That's Great Barrington,
That's
7,000.
residents, that's not
I have
subscribers.
Residents.
numbers that I pulled off the web.
But there are subscribers who are not technically residents in Great Barrington too. Probably most of the towns, because, there's so many second home people.
I was going to
and-
say, there are
Right.
people who are, 6 months a year, And
Right.
if they cut off, some of them do vacation service, but others just cut it off and start again.
And then some up for weekends and just leave it on all the time, so.
Mhm. Doesn't Charter though, like I get just the internet service? Can't they determine how many internet service
Yeah, I just asked.
being
He
received
says
as
it's a
opposed to,
secret.
as opposed to the number of cable people?
The cable subscribers, public information, the
Yeah.
internet numbers.
Yeah, the
Oh, well,
internet
Wall
subscribers.
Street, the big numbers, but we wouldn't do it.
Cable subscribers, we'll get, the number of cable subscribers is in the Form 500 anyway.
No, I was
Yeah,
way,
and on the DTC website.
I was way off. Lee has 1479, Lennox has 1666, Great Barrington has 1906, Sheffield 832, Stockbridge 951 for a grand total of 6,834
7,000,
out
yeah.
of a population of 32,000. So that it kind of makes sense. The subscriber to population is 29%.
Yeah. Because that population includes full households.
Right, right, yeah.
Okay,
I still am having trouble gripping why we cannot be informed of the number of people who have broadband service only through Spectrum, why it's not releasable.
Oh, we release it in our financials, the big number nationally, we don't break it down.
Well, how about just the number of cable people you supply in this area?
Because it's
Subtract,
a cable contract, we're required by the state to report cable numbers, we're not required to report.
well, does Spectrum have the broadband numbers?
I'm sure they do.
So why can't you provide them to us?
'Cause
There's
it's a
nothing secret about that. Nothing secret, no names, no social security numbers.
It's a
nothing like that.
secret.
Just a number, 3,000, 3,227. I failed
It
us.
doesn't matter with the cable franchise, it has nothing to do with the cable franchise. Broadband.
Well, it
has
does.
nothing to
It
do
does.
with the cable franchise. With you it does, but it doesn't in the law.
exactly, that's why we got to work to get those laws and regulations brought up to date, because they're not. The
And
cable-
especially there's no competition for that here, too.
Yeah,
You know,
correct.
We don't have another provider.
The cable laws are, let's-
Antiquated.
yeah, to say the least. And I go back to the fact that the basis of what's going on here now is, some of it is as much as 60, bless you, some of it is as much as 60 years old, the basis for it. And that is that's ancient history. That's called mummies in the ground. That's called, that world does not exist anymore. So this all needs to be updated and done. And we've got to get on our, the reason I say Richie Neal and also our senators is because they worked on the Cable Act, the original Cable Act, and they know that it needs doing.
Yeah.
So we need to get them to move a little bit.
So, think we can get them some of our meetings?
We can get a state representative. Smitty will come. He comes to our meetings occasionally. When I call and give him a special invite and say, we need him for this meeting, he'll try and make it.
Good. Let's be facetious about that.
But it's true, and well, he's come to our meetings. Okay. Any new business? Any other business? We have a citizen speak time, and we actually have a citizen visitor today, and I invite you to say something if you'd like to.
Right, I'm Bill Matthews, I'm a local Lee resident, and I'm on the Historical Commission. I'm also president of the Historical Society here. and I'm on the Lee Cultural Council. And so I came tonight just to see what this group is doing, what it's about, and I'm pleased to have had the opportunity to hear you. Thank you.
Welcome to our committee.
Thank you.
No, we don't have a lead representative.
That's right, welcome to our committee.
I've been on the back of your town clerk to find a representative from your town because we do not currently have one.
Right, yeah. It entered my mind that I might do that, but I'll think about it.
Well, talk to him about it, really, because I don't think he wants to get another one of my phone calls or emails about not having any reps from Lee. So, but Lee is not alone. We don't have any reps from Stockbridge either, folks. We need volunteers. We need people who want to be on this committee. Each of our 5 towns is entitled to 3 representatives. Great Barrington has 1, 2, 3 representatives here. Lennox has 2 representatives now. We're both here. Sheffield has 1 representative now. She is not present tonight. Lee and Stockbridge do not have representatives of their towns at all. So that means your voices in Lee and Stockbridge are not being heard at this committee. So come on, let's get the ball rolling. Go speak to your town. In Lee, you can talk to the town clerk or the town manager's office. In Stockbridge, you go to the town administrator's office, and then you can save me having to keep calling them and keep emailing them and saying, please, please. I even said to them this past week, well, can you send get one of your selectmen to come to the meeting? They're always welcome to come. And the answer was, well, I'll try. Come on. Is that the way you want your town to be represented? Come on. Okay, enough of that.
Now we
I think
pray
I've
for a
made
second
my point.
question.
And I did want to say something. George Doing from Spectrum, I called George with an issue last week, it wasn't, yeah. And miraculously, not one freeze since I spoke to you.
Yeah, so we,
Come on.
George Doyne, Field Ops Manager for the Berkshire County. Yeah, we've been actively looking at, since I spoke with you to get the examples up and get them rectified as quickly as possible. Once we know about issues, that's, the best we can do is, dig into them and find out what the root cause is and, get a fix in as quickly as possible. So, glad to hear.
You did it again, George.
Well, I can't always take credit for it. It's the team behind me. My maintenance team, the in-house technicians. You can't speak highly enough of them and the hard work that they put on, not only just for the 5 towns, but the whole Berkshire County. So,
I'd like to say, George, that I think it was like one time last week, I don't know what the problem was. I don't know if the problem was fixed, but it was like 9 o'clock in the evening, and it didn't affect my cable, but there was a Spectrum truck at the house next door up on the pole. I have no idea why. Like I said, I don't know if it was fixed, but I was very impressed that they're out there at that time of night.
oh yeah, we're out there. I mean, we were down in Housatonic specifically. I know it's close by, so we were actually, down there working on some fiber breaks and throughout the night as well. And yeah, my in-house team is out there till about 9 o'clock, scheduled. So, and then beyond
That's
some
good.
nights, depending on the issues and what it's going to take to get it fixed.
Is the Lee Business Office open full-time now?
I don't handle the front counters, but as far as I know, they're open, pretty much Monday through Saturday. It's based on, employees, based on, people that are there. There may not be, always someone scheduled there. I know it is limited sometimes just based on staffing with the current state of things and everything. I know they're trying to keep it, going as best as they can down there.
Yeah, that's why I asked, because I've been there sometimes and the place is closed for an hour around lunchtime, which is acceptable if you have one person during a pandemic, but we're getting out of the pandemic
No,
now.
but she's been a one-person operation for a long time,
Oh,
even
really?
before the pandemic.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
And is it closed when she takes lunch?
Yep.
Yes. And even though it has a time there,
It's
sometimes,
variable.
yeah, if she's got people
Yeah.
in a line,
Yeah, I know that.
she'll serve all those people, and then she'll go to lunch.
Yeah.
So, yes.
Yeah, the lunchtime it was like 2:30 in the afternoon, and
I-
someone was finishing up, but you couldn't get in. I and another person tried to get in, it was locked. She was taking care of somebody, but then going to
That was
lunch.
probably, she was going to lunch, yeah. Late, but she got to lunch, yeah.
I think in this industry and in this business and what we do, we fit in lunch whenever we can. We speak
Yeah.
from
But she's very
experience.
conscientious. She doesn't close the door and say, sorry, folks, I'm going to lunch now.
No, actually, she came to the door and said, I'm on lunch.
Well, she was there, but she, yeah.
Just serving a customer inside, and the door was closed, and the sign said lunch, and I came to the door, and someone else came right behind me, and she opened the door and said, I'm out lunch. Whatever. No hope of putting another person on.
I don't handle that portion of it, unfortunately. I'm just field ops.
Okay.
But I can definitely share the feedback with their leadership.
Yeah.
George, I have a question. How do you distribute your service in communities? Is there still a head-end room for each community, or is it different now?
No, it's still the same. We have head ends, we have 3 throughout the Berkshire, so, that services the whole entire county.
So south, central, north?
Yeah, basically, yeah, at north, middle, and South County, so South County, Pittsfield, and then North County.
Where's your head end in South County?
It's in Lee.
In Lee?
Yep.
The same service building?
Yep. No, not the same service, but no, it's in Lee, yes. Yep.
Okay, do we have anything further?
No, so,
Anything further from you, John? Rich? George? Thank you.
thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Move to adjourn.
Adjourn, second?
All in favor?
I'm in favor.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.